Oh hi, I make non-traditional cloisonne, and you might want to save this video for future reference if you think you want to try it out for yourself, because I'm going to go over all of the materials that I use in my art, and also there will be a link in the description or in the bio. If you go to my art store, there is a whole list that you can download with every material and all of the links to it. So let's get into it. Starting off, I use acrylic sheets for the backing of my art pieces. I use specifically 1/8 inch thick pieces. I found it just works really easy. This is the wire that I use. It is 1 millimeter thick gold tone wire, and it comes in these giant bundles. For the wire work, I tend to use tweezers. I do like these precision tweezers, but technically speaking, you can use whatever works the best for you and your preference. You will develop a preference over time. These are just little scissors that I use to cut the wire. You don't have to use these specific ones. You can use nippers if you would like instead, whatever works for you. Right here, these two little pieces of wood, I love them. I use them to keep my wire straight and to add curves to it. This is the glue. It's B7000. It's like a jewelry grade glue. The smaller bottles that I'm holding, these have a much smaller tip, and that is really important. Like, you gotta have the small precision tip. This is the wire that I use for the outside section, like if I'm trying to like frame it up, and that's, I want to say 1/8 inch thick wire. And I use this glue, which is the same type. It's still B7000, but it does have a bigger nozzle. That way it applies more glue to the area. So these side by side, you can kind of see the difference, but there is a difference in the tip. So if you're going to get one of them, get the smaller bottle for sure. One thing that really helped me out is this Lazy Susan. Highly recommend it, just because when you're working with wire, it does kind of get all over the place and it just helps things be organized. I use the new Formula UV resin from J. Diction. I really like it. I've figured out how to troubleshoot it pretty well. My light that I use to cure it is from Let's Resin, and yes, I do have it covered in foil so that light doesn't spill over and cure all of my resin when I am not ready. My pigments are from RGH. I went ahead and got all of the primaries, and I mixed smaller sub-pigments from that. And I'll show you that right here. Hold on. Okay, so I have little jars that are full of mixes that I have made. So this is equal parts yellow and blue, and that's what the color turns out with. And when I do a mix, I don't just like throw it in together. I actually mix it together and incorporate it with a mortar and pestle, because otherwise it just does not mix the same. Like, you gotta trust me on that one. It's super important that you grind this stuff up. When it comes to applying my UV resin, I like to use a pointed palette knife that's kind of narrow, just because I do a lot of detail work and it makes it a lot easier, but whatever you decide to use is going to be personal preference. This is the itty bitty little scoop that I use to put my, to scoop out my colors when I'm adding it to the resin. This, you're going to figure out how much to add. It's a little bit of a process, and I will absolutely make more videos on that in the future too. I do use a silicone mat when I mix my resin, and I cover it with a piece of foil so it is a lot easier for cleanup. Trust me, it's a game changer, but it is a little crinkly and noisy, which is annoying. But you will also need a lighter when you do this too. That way you can pop all the bubbles. So there's only one last thing, and it's just the backing I apply, and it is made out of self-adhesive felt. But it's great. So let me know if you want more tutorials. I got you.